Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and before this video gets underway today, I just want to point out that I'm probably playing either Raging Blast 2 or Battle of Z in the background. I haven't made up my mind yet, and also on top of all that, a lot of people have been asking me about my AskFM account, and I haven't been answering questions lately. Well, here's the truth with that. I actually got this question, who was your favorite villain, Thundershot, on my AskFM account. I decided to make it its own video, but I recorded a whole 30-minute AskFM session, and for whatever reason, my recording file saved as this weird format that I couldn't do anything with. My settings were changed for some reason. I couldn't figure it out. But that video was lost, and the thing that sucks about that is that I deleted all the questions as I answered them, so they're not there for me to read anymore. But it was a good video. I'm really sad I lost it. But if you ask questions from like a week and a half ago or more, it's highly likely I deleted it because I answered like 60 questions in one session, and that sucks. So I'm gonna do another video soon where I answer more questions. And then I'm going to say if your question wasn't answered on that list, to go ahead and ask it again. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. I'll explain more when I come out with the other video, but that's what's going on with my AskFM account. Anyways, today we're here to talk about who is my favorite villain. Who's your favorite villain? Thundershot, because like I said, it's a question I got, and I wanted it to have its own video. Now, you're going to see Beerus as the thumbnail. He's not my favorite villain, and I'm going to clarify why. One, I believe he's too new to really, like, even though the movie's been out for a year, and I'm actually going to go see it tonight in the English dub in theaters and stuff like that, but I think he's too new to really solidify as a villain yet. We don't know if he's going to have any future part in anything, but I did really like Beerus as a character. I want to take just a second before I reveal my answer to talk about Beerus as a character. A lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people didn't think he was a villain. A lot of people just thought he wanted to see Super Saiyan God, then he went home, which to an extent you're right, but he was definitely the antagonist in that movie. There's no denying that he was the antagonist in that movie. But as far as his character goes, I actually really like it. He had character. A lot of DBZ villains don't have character, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But I don't know. He was funny. He made jokes. I mean, you know, the only thing about the movie that got me, obviously he was insanely strong, but the only thing about the movie that got me, Battle of the Gods, and like I said, I'm going to see it in the English dub. Maybe that'll change for me after I see it in English tonight. But there was almost no suspense for me in the movie with Beerus because he was so strong. He could have blown the earth up whenever he felt like it. Like if Beerus just decided this time, oops, earth gone. That's it. I mean, you know, like no amount of fighting Goku did or anybody did to stop him, unless Goku was way stronger than him as Super Saiyan God, then Beerus was going to blow the planet up if he felt like it. I mean, you know, it was all down to Beerus' discretion. Now, I'm glad he didn't blow the planet up, obviously, but there was no suspense in that movie for me. The fights were awesome. I thought the jokes were funny, stuff like that, but no suspense. Anyways, I'm done talking about Beerus, but he's in the thumbnail as the villain because I did want to make a special little segment on him before I got into this. So, I had to think long and hard about who my favorite DBZ villain was as a whole, and the reason for this is because a lot of the villains, albeit some of them are pretty damn badass, there's no denying that, a lot of them don't really have any character. Frieza wanted to be immortal and blow up all the planets. Obviously, Frieza was a dick, but Frieza wanted to be immortal and wanted to be the strongest in the universe, but once he found out he wasn't as strong, like, I don't know. He was persistent, I guess. He had a little bit of character, but wanted to be immortal, wanted to be the strongest in the universe. That's Frieza's main focus with everything. Cooler, Frieza's brother, comes in, basically just wants to get revenge for Goku killing Frieza. I mean, you know, like these movie characters, they're kind of a different story in themselves, like Broly and Cooler. Like, granted, Broly had a couple more movies than anybody else, but Broly and Cooler and Beerus and all this stuff, they only had a movie to develop, and most of those movies are like 40 to 45 minutes in full runtime, so they didn't have the most time in the world to develop, so that's why I won't be picking a movie villain. Oh, spoilers, I won't be picking a movie villain as my favorite character today. And I'm not a huge fan of Broly, so I know a lot of Broly fans are going to be like, oh, you got to pick Broly. I'm not a huge, like, I'm glad he was in the series, don't get me wrong, but I'm not the biggest, like, Broly fan in the world out there. I'm actually not the biggest fan of my favorite villain, but I'll reveal that later. So we have, I mean, you know, we go through the whole lineup, and Frieza's main thing was, I want to be immortal, and I'm the strongest fighter ever, nobody can beat me. Cell comes along, and I'm skipping the androids as a whole, even though I do really like Android 18. I'm skipping the androids because they kind of, it was a smaller saga, and even though they were pretty cool, they were androids. I mean, aside from 18, mostly, they had the robot feel to them the whole time. They didn't really have much emotion. 16 did, but he didn't talk much, so stuff like that. So I'm kind of skipping over the androids here. Moving on to Cell, who's technically an android. I know, shut up. He changed his whole character 3 times, but I didn't, like, he changed a completely different character, but I didn't really feel him growing. Like, he would change completely, and I looked at that, like, Cell Transformation 1 and Cell Transformation 2, and especially from, like, 1 to 3 and 2 to 3, I look at those as two entirely separate characters, almost more than a continuation of the same guy. I know they're a continuation of the same guy, but as far as their characters actually go, that's how I feel about it. But, like, the first one was creepy, and that was kind of cool. I mean, I do like First Form Cell. I like the way that comes out. The second one... Second form, I didn't really care for. It was really goofy looking, I thought, and he wasn't even that strong. He showed up and then he got his ass completely fucking handed to him by Vegeta, but he didn't do a whole lot of fighting, because Vegeta and Trunks just showed up and beat the snot out of him until he transformed. And then Perfect Cell's whole thing was, I'm perfect, and I'm going to destroy the Earth. And the thing that got me about Perfect Cell, and Super Perfect Cell if you want to get into it, that I didn't understand, he talked about being the best ever, and nobody could beat him, and he was perfect. In his perfect form, he is the strongest being alive. But after he got that cheap shot in on Gohan, because Gohan risked his life to save Vegeta, and he knew Gohan was at half power, he still did the Kamehameha wave there. And he still tried to blow up the planet right then and there. And it's because he was afraid of Gohan at full potential. Gohan could still beat him at full potential, and he knew that, yet he kept claiming to be perfect. And after that, we move on to Boo, and obviously Boo had a lot of forms, and that's a whole different video topic in itself. But, well, that's a whole different video topic in itself. There's a couple things, a couple quarrels I have with Boo. Not necessarily as a character, but how his storyline plays out that I'm going to make in a future video. But Fat Boo was creepy, I'll give him that, but he was kind of controlled by Bobbity. I didn't care for Super Boo's style. He was absorbing people. We'd seen that already. He regenerated. We'd seen that already with Cell. So I didn't care for Super Boo. Pretty much any form of Super Boo I didn't really care for. Although the scene where he makes his huge barrier and Vegito has to punch through it because otherwise he's going to rip the world apart. That's a pretty badass scene. That's a really, really cool scene. I really like that part. But aside from that, I don't really care for Super Boo too much. Turns people into chocolate, eats them. I think it's kind of a cheap way to get out of some stuff. But it got Vegito to split, so whatever. And then Kid Boo, I actually like Kid Boo, but he's probably like the least lacking character of everyone. He just loves to fight, bottom line. He just loves to fight. He destroys because he feels like it. He's kind of like Beerus, except Beerus, like I said, actually has character, and Kid Boo doesn't. He's almost like a mindless zombie. He's just going to go through, blow something up if he feels like it, and he just loves to fight, and he's just going to keep doing that. So I actually kind of like Kid Boo, but he's not my favorite villain. My favorite villain of all time, well, Thundershot, you've gone through them all, is actually Vegeta. I know it's crazy. Please don't leave spoilers in the comments. I would like the people to watch the video to get to this part. But my explanation, and a lot of people are going to be like, Thundershot, that's a cop-out. Vegeta can't be your favorite villain. He was a good guy the whole Z series, pretty much. If you're going to pick Vegeta, you can probably just pick Piccolo then, because they were both bad guys in the beginning. Well, first of all, I know Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are technically all part of one manga, but as far as the anime is concerned, Z and Dragon Ball are two different things, and Piccolo was not a bad guy for even 1 second in Dragon Ball Z. In the very beginning, he shows up, and the first thing he says is, Goku, we need to team up. And ever since then, Piccolo, while not always, like, he stole Gohan to train him because they still needed to team up, and by the time Piccolo and Goku didn't need to team up anymore, Goku was a Super Saiyan and already way stronger than Piccolo was going to be able to catch up to. So Piccolo was a good guy by then because he loved Gohan. But anyways, no, I don't believe Vegeta's a cop-out for me to pick. Like I said, Piccolo was never once a bad guy. And Vegeta, a lot of people would want to say, well, after the Saiyan Saga, Vegeta's a good guy anyway. No, Vegeta, in the beginning, obviously, in the Saiyan Saga, he kind of had the same mentality as Frieza. They came there to get the Dragon Balls. He wants to wish for immortality. He wants to be the strongest. But he come to find out, because of the Kaioken technique and because of how everything advanced and everything, Vegeta's whole goal was to be stronger than Goku. And while a lot of you guys are going to say after the Saiyan Saga Vegeta was a good guy, so it doesn't really count, he can't be your favorite villain, Vegeta was never actually a good guy until the Buu Saga. In fact, I'd almost go as far to say is Vegeta wasn't actually a good guy until he snapped out of Majin in the Buu Saga, because Vegeta was a bad guy in the Saiyan Saga, and after that, I wouldn't say he was a bad guy or a good guy necessarily throughout the whole Namekian Android Cell Saga, everything like that. I would just say Vegeta did whatever was best for Vegeta, and most of the time that happened to be in line with what the good guys were doing. And I know that's going to sound weird, but if you think about it, he still let Cell transform from second to third, and that almost totally screwed everybody over. Well, it killed Goku. on the Namek Saga, he was trying to gather the Dragon Balls for himself. He still wanted to be immortal. He was kind of working with Krillin and Gohan / forcing them to do stuff for him. That's why they went out and stole the Dragon Ball. But Vegeta, and like I said, even through the Cell Saga, he still didn't like anybody pretty much. He trained with Trunks, but he still didn't like anybody. Still, his whole goal was to be stronger than Goku. That's why he kept going to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. And then even in the Buu Saga, he's pretty much a good guy by the Buu Saga, but then he lets himself get possessed by Majin to get a power boost because, like I said, his whole goal is to be stronger than Goku. And Vegeta, it is kind of cheating for me to pick him because he had the most time to develop, but the reason I like Vegeta, the reason Vegeta is my favorite villain in DBZ of all time, whatever, is because of how much he grows. And like I said, it's kind of cheating because he has so much time to grow. He was the only real villain that was in the series throughout the entire series. But First Saiyan Saga, he's stronger than Goku, but Goku still technically kind of beats him because of Krillin and Gohan and the Spirit Bomb he made. And then anytime after that, Goku's stronger than him, and Vegeta's whole goal is to catch him. Goku goes Super Saiyan. Vegeta's like, well, fuck, now how am I going to do that? Vegeta finds a way to go Super Saiyan. He fights Cell, and he truly believes he's stronger than Goku, and he was until Goku went to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, so that way they had caught up with each other. And then Goku came out stronger again, but he let Cell evolve, and then he finds out Goku's stronger, and then he freaks out because Gohan's stronger, and then he doesn't know what to do with himself. And then the Buu Saga shows up, and Vegeta's been training the entire time in hopes of catching Goku. And he thinks he has him, and then he finds out Goku could go Super Saiyan 3, and his whole fucking world breaks down because he's upset because he's not stronger than Goku. And then the final Kid Buu fight happens, and he sees Goku duking it out with Kid Buu. Goku's Super Saiyan 3, they're going full bore at each other, and then he gives that speech. And then at the end, of course, he admits it, and the entire time, the entire series pretty much, since, I mean, the end of the Saiyan Saga, his goal has been to be better than Goku, and he admits that Goku's better. He says, Kakarot, you are the best. And he accepts that he's, like, been bested in life. Like, I've never seen anybody or any character in anything fail so hard at what their life goal is and be so at peace with themselves, if that makes any sense. So Vegeta's way that he evolved throughout the series, and this is coming from a non-Vegeta fanboy. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I do not care for Vegeta very much. If I have to pick, I mean, you know, a top 3 or a top 5, I don't even know if Vegeta would make my top 5 favorite DBZ characters. But as a villain, like I said, he changed, and then by the end, of course, he was a good guy at the end. But yeah, and that's gonna do it. Any question? Well, how do I want to do this? Okay. I want you guys to go ahead and leave me your favorite villains. It can be a movie villain. You can have your own opinion, anything like that, in the comment section down below. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I'm Thundershot, and I think that's going to do it for me today. Peace, guys.